WGIG, What's Good in Galilee presents Midweek Update.
I'm Christy Richardson.
And I'm Lisa Powell.
And this is Midweek Update. After hearing multiple reports of a man talking to a donkey, our investigative team of reporters was able to find a little bit more about the man only known as Balaam.
Actually, the only information they were able to glean was his last name, which is Doolittle. Balaam Doolittle, expert in donkey dialogue.
I could have sworn there was something about Shrek involved in this story.
Nope. Apparently not. Just Balaam. It's come to our attention again that the Holy Bible has wacky, wild, and wonderful sayings in it. Some of them are puzzling and peculiar indeed. So let's look into that. First of all, look at this one here from Song of Solomon 4:2. Your teeth are like a flock of newly shorn sheep, which have come up from their washing, all of which bear twins, and not one among them has lost her young. I'm very concerned, as are the sheep.
Does it really say that?
It really does say that. Moving on, also from Proverbs 21:9, it is better to live in the corner of an attic than with a crabby woman in a lovely home.
Does it really say that?
It really says it. It really does. And you see the crabby woman. Oh, it gets worse, sort of. Look at this. Apparently, Proverbs 21:19 says it's better to dwell in the wilderness than with a quarreling and angry woman. Apparently, the same angry woman from a lovely home is now
I'm sensing a pattern of
there is a
women
pattern.
Somehow.
Yeah, this is unusual, and perhaps we shouldn't have gone down this route of investigative reporting. And last but not least,
Please don't involve another woman.
Proverbs, 11:22. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. Apparently, the things that were most upsetting in the Old Testament were
Women.
crabby women who had earrings in their nose.
No discretion.
Or
With no
nose rings.
discretion.
That's right, with no discretion.
On this day, we take time to spotlight when the unthinkable became the thinkable, and when nature was most definitely not natural. We'll look at a day when power met peace and when faith overcame fear.
It started out as a normal day in Galilee. The disciples and Jesus had spent the day preaching, teaching, and transforming lives. They were exhausted but satisfied. They knew their work mattered, and they knew that Christ cared as much for the masses as he did for his dedicated friends. So as the day was nearing an end, it was time to wrap things up and head to the next stop.
They loaded themselves and their few belongings into a boat and prepared to cross the Sea of Galilee to their next destination. Jesus settled in for a well-deserved nap as his disciples, several of whom were skilled sailors, took the helm and headed out to sea.
The disciples' merry mood was short-lived, however. As is common for the Sea of Galilee, a sudden storm, a squall, stirred up around them. What was calm minutes before was now anything but. As the winds kicked up and the crests on the waves grew bigger and wider, the calm collective soon became chaos amongst the disciples. They had to grip the sides of the boat to keep their balance. They frantically tried to scoop the water out of the boat faster than it was coming in. Their attempts at both were useless.
The surprise squall was fierce and cruel, stripping the disciples of control and replacing it with chaos and fear. And yet, in the back of the boat, along with the wind-tossed and trembling disciples, Jesus slept. That's right, he slept. His sleep was deep. His sleep was undisturbed by the tossing and turning of that boat in that terrible storm.
He was unfazed and unbothered as he slept. As he dreamed, the disciples defied what they thought was certain death as the boat began to fill more and more with wild waves and unrelenting rain. Finally, in a fit of despair, the disciples realized their master and their guide was not on deck with them. They couldn't find him in the chaos. They couldn't hear him over the noise of their worry. As they shakily and desperately made their way to the back of the boat, there was no gentle wake-up call for the Christ. They practically yelled at him, "Don't you care about us, whether we live or die?"
And this is when the unthinkable happened. The unnatural took place. Jesus, the Christ, friend and mentor, stood up without a word to his friends, the disciples, and said this into the storm, into the chaos: "Peace, be still." The waves became calm, the rains stopped, and the winds ceased to blow. The master turned to the 12 and said this: "Why are you so afraid? Have you forgotten your faith?" And the 12, those 12, the 12, the ones who witnessed his miracles every day, the ones who experienced the world's transformation at Jesus' fingertips, were once again shocked at a whole new level. This miracle worker, this raiser of the dead, now showed his complete control over the wind and waves, control over the most basic elements of the earth, control of what no one else could or would ever achieve. And the disciples saw Jesus again. They realized again that Jesus was no ordinary man. They understood a little more clearly who Jesus the Christ really was. On that day, they saw his power. They saw his might. They saw his truth, that he was the Son of God. And that is what we celebrate on this day. We celebrate the day when the power of wind and waves was no match for the peace of Christ. We celebrate the day when the disciples found clarity in the middle of chaos. We celebrate when they were reminded to trade in their fear for faith. And most importantly, on this day, we are reminded of the control and care that God has for his people. The untamable power of nature becomes docile and serene with just a whisper from the Almighty. On this day, Jesus of Nazareth calmed the wind and waves and hearts of those who loved him. On this day.
And now a few words from our sponsors.
Jacob's Makeup, master of disguise, costumes, and cosplay. Call 1-800-REBECCA. Mention Esau or Birthright, and you'll get 50% off. Disguise is good enough to fool your father.
If you're looking for the perfect solution for a last-minute gift, look no further. Walk right on down to Aaron's Magic Oven. All you need is a little gold and a little wish, and the possibilities are endless. Toss your gold into Aaron's Magic Oven, and within minutes, out pops a statue, or a figurine, or maybe even a golden calf of your choice. Unbelievable, impossible, just ask Aaron, owner and founder of Aaron's Magic Oven. In his own words, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. With every purchase, you receive your own complimentary copy of the 10 Commandments.
So remember, God is good.
All the time.
And all the time,
God is good.
and that's the best news of the night.
See you next week.